Hey friends, it's Angel with On Purpose with Angel Brantley, and I have my very first guest, my amazing sister friend, Chanel. We're not going to say that last name because it's not your business, right?
Right.
All right. But she's doing me a favor. I said, we're going to hop on the camera and we're going to just bring some of our conversations to the camera. We're not going to let you all in our business, but today we're going to talk about believing the positive things that people believe about you. I think we spend a lot of time believing negative things that people say, and we give a lot of energy to that. But there's some great things that people believe about us that we just tend not to believe, whether that's because of our own confidence or insecurities, lack of confidence, but or just there's various reasons I believe that we could struggle with believing. But I really want to challenge you, if you're going into leaving out of 2021, don't wait till 2022. Before you leave out of 2021, to start believing what people believe about you that's positive.
Yes.
Right?
That's key. That's key. Knowing who you've surrounded yourself with. Because people can speak a lot of negative things into your life. I mean, or you just got haters.
Yeah.
Who just they don't want to see you glow up, grow up, whatever. But I think it's important. I think most important is surrounding yourself with people who you know are going to speak positive things into your life. And I think that's what we were talking about today. Like, I feel blessed to have you as an amazing friend because I think she sees things in me that I don't see in myself. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important that when you have friends like that, you should encourage them. You should encourage them to try different things. And I think it's important as an individual to be transparent with your friends.
Absolutely.
About, your visions, your goals, your dreams, even your insecurities. Because, like I said, I think people see things in you sometimes that you can't see in yourself.
Yeah, and we won't share what Chanel said today, but she said something that I never knew about her today. And I was like, yo, we need to zoom in on this. That's a shameless plug because I did a podcast or a vlog on Zoom In. So check that out. I'll link it below. But I was like, we need to kind of stay here and see what God wants to do here. One thing, I think that we let little things that seem like insignificant in our lives just kind of fly under the radar. And we're like, oh, that's really not that big. Oh, somebody else is already doing that. But some of those small things are really things that God wants to use you in.
Absolutely.
And we can kind of like downplay them because it's not as big. One thing about Chanel, and I'll brag on her, and I told her this privately so I can say it publicly, but she is this. She is consistent. I'm consistent, but I'm very like I can be like a wave. But she has been consistent since the moment I met her. I came into her life in a very strange way.
Very strange.
But she and my brother Jabari, her husband, they just were I know they had questions by the way I came into their lives. I know that it was strange for them. They just met me as friend, and then they knew my husband first. Just to bring a little context there. They knew my husband first, and I just came in as friend, and it was like, oh no, we're getting married. And today Jabari said, it was like, we get married in 3 weeks. It wasn't that quick, but it was
almost
fairly quick. But one thing about them is that they came in just like this, and they've treated me like sister. I feel like for a lot of people on my end and for my husband, I feel like we had to kind of prove to people, or at least just be who we were, and they just end up deciding, oh, this is them, they're gonna make it. Like, oh, they've been married 5 years, oh, they're good. But no, I think that we had to some people had to like wait to see, but they just embraced me immediately. Absolutely. And it really added a lot of value to my marriage, because when there are people that were intentionally and unintentionally fighting against our union, we had people like Jabari and Chanel who were fighting for us, who believed, even though it was strange, even though it didn't happen in a conventional way, they were like, if this is what they're doing, we're going to speak life.
Absolutely.
We're going to speak to marriage. We're going to speak to them about like fighting for your marriage. And they went all in with us. And so I really do, I appreciate that.
I know.
But that's like my consistent, that's an example of just she's this consistent. But I think for me and for Chanel, sometimes we're looking for like these big things to happen for us to feel like what we do matter. And I'm like,
But I also think that speaks to, because I don't necessarily look at that as a gift.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this before in our private time. Like, when I think about people's gifts, I think about, like, okay, talents, or even like spiritual gifts, like prophecy, things like that. But just, I think I look at myself and I'm like, I'm just being me. And I think a lot of people will say, like, well, you know, those characteristics that just make them who they are. They don't realize that those are gifts, that everyone, but for me, I'm just like, that's just who I am. And so that's normal to me. And I think that's why I've always struggled with trying to find or figure out what my giftings are. Because things that you look at as a gift are just like me just saying, like, but that's just who I am. Like, that's how I'm made up.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important.
For a lot of people to really realize, like, I think we're waiting to, like, go to a conference or have, like, this big thing happen at church where it's like, oh my God, my pastor prophesied this to me or something. But really, I believe that God is trying to show up in the mundane of everyday life. And, like, he gave us our personalities. Like, when you say that's just me, we're really saying, like, that's just who he created me to be. And I'm just being him in the earth in the way that he's designed me to be him in the earth. And I think we really miss how God wants to show up. I don't need another conference. I'm not saying I will never go to another conference. But what I do need is a Chanel in my life. A Chanel who is when I am going this way and I can hit a big low, I know that I can come to Chanel and she can remind me who I am.
Absolutely.
Like, this is what she was talking about. Like, we need to be honest with people and vulnerable because you need people to remind you, because you're not going to believe certain things about yourself.
Yeah.
So you need people.
You need people, but then I also think you need to trust the people that you have surrounded yourself with. Like, trust that you can truly be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, understand that there's no judgment. You know what I mean? Like, my house maybe is a mess. And so, you know, I need to trust that those people I've surrounded myself with that really call themselves my friends are not going to judge me because my house is a mess.
She's not going to care about me saying it. We talk about cleaning her pantry while we're here. Right. I'm not judging her. I'm just like, girl, I like to do this. Like, let's just clean it. I'll clean it. She could be like, I think Angel's trying to judge me because she asked if she could help clean the pantry. No, I actually enjoy. I clean mine. I've helped friends clean out their drawers before, not because I was judging them. I'm like, girl, I don't mind doing this. And the reality is that sometimes we just need help.
Absolutely.
Like, we just need somebody to help us get started or to show up in the mundane and help us do small things. I'm not judging that.
Yeah.
Because your house may be a mess, but my emotions may be a mess. So me coming and help you clean the house may help me emotionally.
Yeah.
So really, let's make sure this year, not only do we not start focusing on the things that people believe about us, but still allow people to show up for you. Like, allow people to just show up in the mundane.
Allow people to speak into your life.
Yeah. And
believe it. You have to believe it.
Right.
I think that's key.
Absolutely.
Because there's times where you've said things to me and I'm just like,
you're still trying to believe them.
I am. I'm like, this girl, she loves me. So she wants to see the best of me.
But isn't that what
it is. But I think you have to believe it. Like, trust in what they're saying about you and believe it. Take it to heart.
And I think one thing you got to realize is that when you don't, sometimes it's hard because you assume that people are lying to you when they say things that you don't believe. But when you know, like, I love you. So, what am I benefiting from telling you things?
Right.
So when you struggle with, like, oh, that's just fluff, you kind of got to ask yourself, well, am I the one that's not believing? Because, like,
do some self-reflection.
Chanel has a husband that will gas her up. Like,
he would.
This man loves this woman, and I think it's beautiful. But y'all have been married how long?
16 years.
16 years. And he's still gassing her up, and she's still like, really?
Right.
You think so? You think you're going to invest 16 years and not believe it?
Right.
Like, we drove to get coffee today. He's like, I just love her, and I know it. And I'm like, man, this girl don't understand. Like, this is her gift. She waiting for something to be like, bam, like Chanel prophesied that the world about to end. No. Who wants to hear that? I need to hear somebody that's like, Angel, you tripping. Like, you know who you are, or I know who you are, and you may not believe it right now, but this is what God has said about you.
Absolutely.
Not only this is what God has said about you, like, our friendship has become not Bible, but a living word. It's a testament of the love of God and what God can do through relationships. So,
Absolutely.
She can call me out on things, I can call her out on things, and it may not be easy,
Right.
but it has been worth it.
Right.
She didn't want to get on this camera, guys.
I did not.
But she did it. And I believe that the seed that's sown today is going to manifest in many ways. And so I'm just all about being obedient. I felt like, girl, we better go on this camera. Let's go.
And that's exactly how it happened.
That's exactly how it happened. I was like, I want to be authentic. We about to turn this camera on. I'm not editing. This is what it is. This is our conversation. I wanted to welcome you guys into real friendship. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
It takes work. It's an investment, but it's an investment that is worth it, you guys. Absolutely. You can walk away from things so quickly because things don't look the way that you expected.
Right.
But I really believe that God is trying to show up and desires to show up in our everyday relationships, and we're missing it.
Yeah.
This is years of investment.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, I feel like you sowed the first seed
Oh.
in believing in my marriage.
Yeah.
But that also created a space for us.
Yeah.
So Marquise was gaining a wife, but you were gaining a friend.
Absolutely.
And
sister.
Right.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that, like, it seems like it's about somebody else, but God is trying to get things to you through relationships.
Yeah.
And
so if you can't trust people, I would say, even if you have a hard time trusting people, trust God. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust that God is lining up people, that, He's preparing people for where you're getting ready to go. So don't be closed-minded.
Right.
Because I used to always be like, oh, I have all my adult friends.
Yeah.
But now look at me. You know what I mean? So, like, be open. I would say be open to new relationships. Be open to new experiences. And trust God. Yeah. Trust God in those things.
They may not look the way you think they're going to look.
Yeah.
They might not act the way you think they're going to act.
They may not be easy.
They may not be easy.
Yeah.
They may not even be believers, guys. I want you to understand that. Like, we're both believers, but God wants to get something to you through an unbeliever. Like, let's not forget the power of engaging with what we like to say darkness. You're light.
Yeah.
So if you're light, you can light up darkness.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me that a dark room, we appreciate lights, Christmas lights, when it's dark.
When it's dark.
Who goes to drive around to look at Christmas light at 2 o'clock in the...
Right. When it's light outside. Yeah.
God is there too, guys. And I think we forget that, like, and that may not be easy relationships because you may not have the same beliefs, but what is the power of showing up and lighting up that person's life? And you may gain a resource or just a solid good friend. Like,
Absolutely.
I also don't want us to get caught up on just engaging with people so that we can get something.
Right.
Like, oh, they good at this, so I'm gonna connect with them. So I need a photographer, so I'm gonna connect with you because you're a photographer. But I don't really like you. No, be genuine. Get to know that person. But even some of the things that we're believing God for, I think it's smack dab in relationships that we're just afraid to be in or just uninterested in being in because it will take work.
Because it takes work.
So,
but it's worth it.
It is.
It's worth it.
I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
For jumping on.
Thank you for letting me be the first one.
Yes. For jumping on and just doing this. The biggest takeaway, I guess I would say, what do you feel like your biggest takeaway from what we talked about?
Just do the work. I would say do the work. I think relationships they take work. And so, sometimes you have to do some self-reflection and see even what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times we're looking for what others are bringing to the relationship. But you have to make sure you're bringing something to the table, too. And so just be open, be vulnerable, and don't put up those walls. Like, trust God that He's not going to allow you to get hurt. Because if you trust Him and you move forward and you put in the work, it's always going to be something beautiful on the other side.
I would agree. And I think that I'll just piggyback. I agree with everything you said. I think one of the things, the word hurt is so taboo. We don't like to hear, like, I may get hurt. But I look at hurt as if like if you're going in to like plant something, you gotta like work the ground, and you gotta till it, right? You may hit a hard spot, but if you keep working at it, I think we just don't want to work, guys.
Yeah.
But that's equivalent to hurt. It may hurt when you hit that. You didn't expect to hit that rock that's been down there in that person's life or in your own.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the hurt is more coming from the inside of you versus the outside, because someone hit a tender spot that you have used your faith. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I think a lot of us have used our faith to ignore things. Right. It's like, I'm just going to believe God is going to go.
Instead of dealing with it.
But I think he wants us to use our faith to face it.
Yeah.
To deal with stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of times things will come up that's down in the ground, that's blocking the roots from really going down and, being solid. Because it's just like that rock that's like, oh, I have an insecurity there. And nobody ever hit that. And I don't like it. So instead of dealing with that, we'll say like, I'm get rid of that person, or this relationship is too much.
Yeah.
And so I think that hurt is equivalent to that. Some stuff, everything's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It may hurt, but I promise you, we are entering into a season. I'm not about a year, but we're entering into a season that we have got to stop running away from hard stuff. Stop running away when you don't understand or when you don't know.
Yeah.
Seek God, ask questions, and I believe he will manifest himself in so many ways in beautiful relationships like this.
Absolutely.
I believe he'll do that. I hope that you were encouraged from me and my friend. This is real.
It is.
We're about to have some more fun, you guys. We get off this camera, and this is how we talk. She's like, you're so deep.
She's so deep. This girl always deep.
I'm like, you get it. This is who I am. Like, I'm not changing. But we're gonna have a good time. I'm excited to be here. This is our girl's godmother, and they're happy to see her. And we're grateful for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yes, this is a vlog, but we don't take for granted that you've taken our time to listen. Watch out, she may be back, you guys.
Maybe.
Next time I may be putting a link down saying go check out Chanel's stuff.
Oh, jeez.
Right? But she may be back. I believe that God is going to use us both mightily. Again, I won't just say next year. I believe that he's elevating us in ways that we could never ever imagine or even think of.
Yeah. And
that's the great thing about God.
Yeah.
He's great.
Absolutely.
So I want you to be encouraged to dig in, to start believing. That was the first thing we said, like, start believing, even if you start small. What is one thing that people have said about you, that people have complimented you or acknowledged about you that you don't believe about yourself? How about spending some time this year and the next believing it? Even if it's one thing. Just start believing it. Write it down on a piece of paper. We both struggle with our voices. I choose to believe that my voice will make impact. I don't care what it sounds like. I don't like the way these videos sound. But my voice will make impact, because it's not about what I sound like. It's about the God that is using my voice.
Right.
And so what is that thing that you do not believe about yourself, that they keep complimenting you, but you still don't believe it? Write an affirmation or declaration, whatever you want to call it, around that thing, and say it to yourself. Use the energy that you've been using to not believe it to put focus on believing it. And I would say just dig deep. Trust friends, be vulnerable, and allow people to come into your world and hold you accountable, and to remind you who you are when you hit those lows.
Absolutely.
Because we are going to hit them. You're going to have times when you're discouraged, but when you give people permission to do that, it may not be easy.
Right.
But they're the people that are going to be guiding your life. They're not God, but they will be the hands and feet of God to help bring you back, the voice to speak things back into your life. And so watch that happen. Trust God.
Yes.
And I would love to hear if you have any comments or anything to say about it. If you have experienced this, or if you decide that you're going to zoom in and kind of focus on 1 to 2 or 3 things that you have struggled with believing about yourself, go under this video and comment and just say things like, I declare I will this. And I just want to believe God for you. We'll pray. I'll share it with Chanel and tell her, hey, let's pray about this for these individuals. And as things begin to manifest, come back and tell us. We want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love you guys, even if we don't know you. And we thank you for taking out time to listen to this video. This is your precious time, and we do not take it for granted. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.